Today we're taking a look at ApolloX, which recently just launched their V2, which includes on-chain futures, and you've guessed it correctly. This means you can trade perpetuals with leverage on this exchange, and initially they did have a V1, but their V1 did operate with traditional order books, meaning that people had to have a buyer and a seller for the trade to go through. And in the theme of keeping this more decentralized and on-chain, they've gone ahead with their V2. Now, just a quick note here, their V1 did operate on BNB, on Ethereum, as well as on Arbitrum, and right now their V2 is only on Binance Smart Chain, but in the near future they do plan on launching on Arbitrum. Now, specifically today, we're going to be focusing on their version 2, their on-chain futures, and this is their dashboard. If you go on to ApolloX, you go on to trade, you can see this is what you're going to be greeted with. So on the left side here, you can pick whichever asset you want, and they actually do have many different pairs, and I've noticed multiple times they keep on adding pairs, which is obviously a good thing because that is going to promote the volume on this exchange. So they have your typical Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB. They've recently added SUI, they have Arbitrum, XRP, so on and so forth, and they also have Forex pairs, and they again continue to add even more Forex pairs. Now, because I'm recording this on a Saturday, the market is closed, so you can't trade Forex right now, but this is essentially the list of available assets. Now, in terms of your right-hand side, what you can look at here is essentially how to place an order, and this is very familiar or similar to other perpetual DEXs or even a centralized exchange. I do think that most decentralized exchanges have done a great job integrating this and making it as easy as possible for the user. So as we can see here, this one, we have leverage all the way up to 150x on Bitcoin, and depending on the pair you choose, you may have all the way up to 200x leverage. And if we just take a look at, let's say, the euro, you could trade all the way up to 200x leverage. Now, of course, I really do hope you know what you're doing with leverage, because it could be a very good thing or it could be a very bad thing, and you could blow up an account in the matter of a few minutes. So only trade leverage if you know what you're doing. Now, in terms of take profits and stop losses, you can set those up as well. You have your entry price, your liquidation price, which of course goes hand in hand with the leverage that you're using. And they also have a fixed fee here. So again, that's kind of the trading overview of this platform. And if we go on to the analytics and exactly what is happening with this platform, how many people are using it, first and foremost, like I said, they do have a V1 and they also have a V2. Now, if we take a look at the V1 stats, these are updated on a weekly basis. So if you follow ApolloX on Twitter, you are going to see these updated on a weekly basis. But in terms of last week, they were able to net about $26,000 worth of fees. So this is obviously a smaller perpetual DEX compared to, let's say, GMX or Vela. But again, I do still see some great potential with these smaller ones, especially if they keep on building. Now that's on V1, and if we take a look at the V2, which is again the on-chain perpetuals, here we see about $152,000 in total trade fee. So definitely more volume and activity on V2 rather than their V1, and they had about 1,000 total traders. Now, if we take a look at Dune Analytics, I am going to be leaving links down in the description below, but this is another great way to take a look at exactly what is happening. And what you need to keep in mind here is, of course, the P&L of the traders, because like many other perpetual DEXs, this has its own liquidity token, which we are going to take a look at, but the amount of money made by traders is in fact going to have an impact on that liquidity, which is their ALP token. Now, just before we continue on with this video, there is a link in the description below where 100 people can win $10 worth of APX. You just have to follow the steps down in that form in the description below, and you'll be able to potentially win up to $10 of APX. Now, on top of that, they also have more promotional campaigns, and this one here is running from May 12th to May 26th, where they are basically giving out 200,000 APX tokens per day. And this is obviously dependent on the amount of volume you're trading on ApolloX. But to give you an idea, on May 20th here, the ROI for the trading reward platform was basically 168%. So again, if you're trading on ApolloX, you're using this as a perpetual decentralized exchange, you are even going to get even more rewards in the form of their APX token. And they also have another festival here with up to $3,000 in rewards, depending on, again, specific pairs that you trade. The promotional period here is from the 17th of May to the 28th. And again, I will be leaving links to that in the description below. These are all just incentives to obviously try and promote ApolloX, as well as promote the adoption of ApolloX, this platform, and bring more users onto it. Now, if we move on and we talk about their native and governance token, we are talking about the APX token. So this one here right now, it's sitting around 5 cents. And if we take a look at its all-time chart, this hit a high of about 25 cents back in December of 2021, hit a high of about 25 cents. Obviously, we've seen some sell pressure, and with the news that it is going to launch on Arbitrum soon, we did see a nice pump from about 3 cents to about 7.5 cents, and right now it's consolidating around 5 cents. Now, in terms of the volume, it is a bit low. I'm looking at about $8,500 here over the last 24 hours, more on the sell side, but this does fluctuate quite a bit. You can see back here in February, there's a lot more volume than there is now, but again, they are still relatively new on the V2 side of things, and they are still building out this ecosystem. Now, in terms of how many people actually hold the APX token, we are looking at about 28,000 people. So now we kind of need to understand, what is the APX allocation, where are these tokens, and what's happening with them. So as we can see from this graph, there's about 26% of it for community treasury, about 10% for marketing, 50% in user trading rewards. And again, this goes back to the reward program they are running right now. They also have 8% for mining rewards, as well as 6% for their LP. Now, something I really do like about this is that back in April 2022, they actually burnt literally half of the entire APX supply. And something else to note is that on every transaction of APX, there's actually a 1% tax, which is used to burn the token, and they are constantly buying back the APX token in order to burn it and thus decrease the supply of APX and hopefully increase the price of APX. Now, in terms of what you can do with your APX, because this is the governance and utility token of ApolloX, well, you can go ahead, lock them up in their DAO and have a say as to what this protocol does. And for doing so, you're also going to be getting double the benefits with an APY of up to about 16%. Now, they do also offer some staking pools. So if you are looking to stake your APX and BNB, you can go ahead and do that. And right now, that's given an APY of about 20%. Now, since we know about the APX token, which is that governance and utility token, we can also talk about their ALP token. Now, the ALP token is the liquidity token of this platform, similarly to GLP for GMX, as well as VLP for Vela. So as we can see right now, the price of ALP is worth around $1.02, and that of course is going to continue increasing as more and more people are trading. And that's why I did mention earlier that it is important to look at the amount of money that people are either making or losing on this platform, because that can impact the price of ALP, because it is in fact the liquidity of this platform. Now, in terms of if you just buy and hold ALP, the projected API is around 6.5%, but if you do end up staking ALP, you are also going to receive an APY of about 14%. Now, the ALP token is actually a really interesting token in my opinion, because more than half of it is made out of stable coins. So if we take a look at its actual composition here, we can see that there is about 80% of USDT, 18% of USDC, and there's only a very small percentage of volatile assets. So this means that the price of ALP is not going to be impacted by the market volatility. So if the price of Bitcoin drops by 10%, it's not really going to have an impact on the price of ALP, but vice versa, if Bitcoin were to go up by 10%, well, the price of ALP is not going to go up as well, because most of it is made of stable coins. Now, in my opinion, that is a good thing, because you obviously want the liquidity to stay as stable as possible, even if the market is going absolutely crazy. So that's your composition for the ALP token. And if we wrap this up with their roadmap and exactly what ApolloX wants to do in 2023, well, they've launched their V2. This is exactly what we took a look at today. They are going to go multi-chain. As I've mentioned, they are planning on bringing this to Arbitrum. They've created a DAO. They are also burning and repurchasing APX. They do have an Apollo Explorer and an NFT lottery that we didn't dive into this video, but all of the information is on their white paper. I will leave links to all of this today. So that is your overview of ApolloX. Like I said, it is still a relatively new perpetual DEX on BNB. They do plan on launching it on Arbitrum in the near future. And I believe that when that happens, more and more people are going to hear about it. But again, with these smaller perpetual DEXs, it really comes down to two things: whether or not the team continues to build, or whether or not people do adopt this to trade. So we're going to see where ApolloX goes, but I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on it. I may even end up providing liquidity to it. I haven't decided yet, but that's your overview. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, let me know down below. All the links are going to be down there. But if you've enjoyed, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace.